You guys are in for a treat. We are incredibly privileged to have as our first speaker a fella who is known as the Godfather of Internet marketing.
He's the Godfather.
He's not going to make you an offer you can't refuse, but he will make you an irresistible offer. That's the title of one of his bestsellers. He's written about a dozen books, many of which have hit the top of the charts. His books have been translated into at least as many languages. He is an innovator and a pioneer. Many of the technologies that we use today were used by this gentleman way back when Internet dirt was new. One of the first ones to create ebooks. Mr. Mark Joyner is a Cold War veteran of military intelligence. He is a U.S. Army officer, and I would like for you to give him a very warm welcome. Give it up for Mr. Mark Joyner.
All right, you guys want to win this thing?
Yeah.
If you're serious about winning this thing, I'm going to take you guys through some stuff that's kind of unusual, all right? And you're going to be wondering, like, what is this all about? It's going to seem very, very silly to you at a certain point. But you'll get to a point where it'll break through that, and you'll understand why, okay? So I need you to kind of suspend your disbelief for a few things. Let me tell you about what I'm about to teach you, okay? So I used to teach people about internet marketing. I stopped doing that many years ago for the most part. And I was doing some consulting for people behind the scenes after I closed down my original company, Eastop Marketing Corporation. And when I was consulting for these people, they'd pay me about $2,000 an hour to give them marketing ideas. And I realized that they didn't really need marketing ideas. They had plenty of great ideas. Who here has really good ideas? All you guys do, I'm sure, right? Your hand, I'm sure, should be up as well. I talked to you last night. I know you got good ideas, all right? So all you guys have that. But that's not the thing, okay? There are a lot of people who have great ideas. They got brilliant ideas, but what are they doing with it? How many people know geniuses who are broke? Anyone in here in the room that's genius that's broke? Yeah. All right. So I started realizing I had to stop teaching these guys internet marketing. I had to stop giving them ideas. And I had to teach them what I'm about to teach you guys. Okay? So there are some very, very fine, important principles I'm going to teach you. And I'm also going to show you guys how to use some software that is going to walk you through sort of a state of awareness. Okay? Like a way of going through your day that gives you what you're about to learn. Okay? Because there's a number of things you can learn in life, and very, very little of it you actually apply. So who here has read a best-selling business book in the last month? You haven't, really? So you don't read business books? Okay. What was the last book you read? Yeah. You can't read, right? So okay. You can't read. All right. Okay, so what about you, Jason? What's the last book you read?
2 Products Ahead.
Think 2 Products. Okay, Ben Mack. Yeah, I wrote the foreword for that book. I know that very well. Okay, have you actually applied any of the ideas in there?
A few, yes.
A few, okay. You're actually rare. Statistically, what you're exhibiting right now is very, very rare in the room. Okay, so I was at a seminar a few years ago, and I did this little demonstration. I never give the same talk twice. I don't like getting up there and giving the same thing. I like everything to be informal and casual and learn about you, because if I have this presentation that's all set and dried, it doesn't pay any respect to who you are and what you guys know. So I got to kind of tailor this. So what I did for these guys was I said, who here knows the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, right? And I said, stand up if you know. You guys don't have to do this, okay? It's all right. So everybody stood up. Whole room stood up, okay? And then I said, okay, all right, that's good. That's good. So I want you to sit down if you think that what is taught in that book is not going to help you become a millionaire. Does everyone understand that? It's kind of like a double negative, right? Okay. Maybe 2 people sat down. This is a room of about 700 people. Okay, 2 people sat down. I said, okay, so you guys all believe that this information is going to make you a millionaire, all right? So I said, all right, so if that's true, on page 38 of the trade paperback version of the book, it says to memorize this thing called the self-confidence formula and to recite it aloud once a day, all right? So I said, now, since all of you guys have read this book, right, and you believe that it's going to work, I would like just one of you to come up on stage and recite the self-confidence formula with me, okay? And I said, sit down if you don't have enough confidence to do that, all right? Now, how many people do you think were standing at the end of that? 0, exactly 0. Okay, so what does that tell you? Didn't internalize it? Didn't act on it, right? So, I mean, you can cram as much information as you want in your head, but if you don't actually apply it to what you're doing in your day-to-day life, it's completely meaningless, completely meaningless. I mean, you can go to parties and clubs and recite information and, impress members of the opposite sex or whoever you're trying to attract with that information, but it's not going to change your life and it's not going to help you be a better business person. So what does make a difference then? What is going to make you better at business? What's going to change? Action. Okay. What kind of action?
Immediate.
Immediate action? Okay, not bad. What else? Jason's giving me the deer in the headlights. It's all right. Okay, well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I want to volunteer. Somebody who's not afraid of showing their deepest thoughts on screen in front of everybody else. You want to raise their hands for that? Really? Good man. Can you swap places with Carly, right? Thor, yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, here's what I want. Jason, don't drink your water. There's a reason why I'm going to tell you guys this in a second, okay? It'll make sense to you in a minute. Now, if you know this exercise I'm going to run you guys through, if you've seen it before, if you've read some of my stuff, just try not to throw out any spoilers in there, okay? So it's going to make a difference. Here's what I'd like to do. Our task here, we're going to get to you with the computer in a minute. Our task here is going to be to get you guys to drink a glass of water, okay, or even just a sip of water, all right? But what we're going to do is we're going to try several different approaches to get that done, okay? Now, the first type of approach we're going to take is voodoo, okay? Would you guys like to learn some magic voodoo? Voodoo, yeah, it's good. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We'll try some voodoo. All right, so I want Jason to take that glass of water, set it in front of you, okay? Now, I want you to pray that the water is going to come into your mouth. Let's time him. See how long it takes to pray that water into Jason's mouth. Should we wait? Okay, all right. All right, that's good, thanks. All right, so 10 seconds, we still don't have any water. Okay, you are Laura, is that right? Okay, Laura. I would like you to seduce that glass of water, okay? Tell it how sexy it is, and see if you can get a sip of that water.
Okay.
Here we go. We're gonna time this now.
Say this out loud or just...
That's up to you. It depends on how entertaining you want to be. So, yeah. Go for it. Ready? Go. Oh, come on now.
Oh, you really want me to go?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This water on my tongue would be delicious, and it would just slide down my throat so well, and it's making me tingle inside already just thinking about it.
Whoa. Okay. Okay, 20 seconds, but still no water. Okay, all right. Let's try another method. All right, I would like for you, you are Jamie, sorry. Okay, Jamie, I would like for you to manifest that water into your mouth. Okay, what I want you to do is, I want you to imagine that water is in your mouth, and I want you to just, attract it to you. And I want you to just use all of the God force and power in the world to bring that water to you. Okay, ready? Set. Go. That's pretty good. It's convincing. All right, that's good enough. All right. But still no water. Okay. Alisand, right? Okay. Here's what I'd like for you to do. I'd like for you to try a completely different method. All right, and I'll tell you guys what this method is called in a second. I would like for you to pick that glass of water up and take a sip. Ready? Go. Whoa! 2 seconds and she has the water. Okay. It's kind of a silly exercise, right? But is there a point here that we're trying to get at? Does anyone want to guess what that is? Action? Okay, but what kind of action? Well, she took action. She took action. He took action.
It's kind of like a difference between trying and doing.
Maybe. Okay, come on up. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to write up here, write the first law of simpleology. Just write first law of simpleology, the law of straight lines. Okay? Here's the point of this, guys. Here's where you are right now. Here's where you want to be. Here are the things that you want. Okay? The point of this is the shortest path between where you are and what you want in your life is a straight line. Okay? Now, it's a very, very obvious thing, and you look at it and you go, yeah, I know that. Okay, so what you're doing is you're going into what I call an I already knew that trance. Okay? Because when you knew that, are you acting on that? That's great, thank you. All right, that's first law of simpleology. Okay, so do you guys think you're acting on the law of straight lines every day? Okay. We're going to belabor this point a little bit more, but first what I want you to do is go ahead and everybody turn your computers on. And while the computers are booting up, I'll talk to you about something here that you guys are probably doing. So turn the computers on while it's coming up. I want you guys to write down in your book, okay? Go to a page inside the book and write down a list of things that you do in the morning. Now, I want you to be very, very honest, okay? So I don't want you to say, any nonsense, what you would like to do in the morning. I'm talking about what you actually do, what you really, really do in the morning when you wake up. What's the first thing you do? Do you go to the gym? When you start work, do you check your email? What do you do? What do you do? Okay? And when you check that email, what are you doing? Do you check your stock quotes? Do you check the news? When you're online, what are you doing when you're surfing? When you're actually working, what are you doing? Be totally honest. Let me tell you guys why you have to be honest here, because this is a contest for you, and as well as you perform is going to determine how well you do in this, okay? So if you've got some flaws, you can choose to deal with these flaws in a way that's sort of like, well, I'm going to cover up my flaws, because that's what most people do. We cover up our flaws. But the alternative is that you can let the light shine in on those flaws, and you can actually improve and change those things. So only one of you guys is going to win this. You know that, right? But every one of you can walk away with some benefit from this. Okay, and that's what I would like to see, is that everyone walks away with some benefit. So if you're honest with yourself right now, I'm going to take you through some stuff that's going to stick with you for the rest of your life if you allow this to internalize. We've given you guys accounts to something called the Simpleology Web Cockpit. Okay? Now, the Web Cockpit is something that I want you guys to use every day that you're here, okay? Because it's going to help you win this thing if you use it properly, all right? If you got your list of all the things that you do in the morning, now what I want you to do is I want you to draw a line across that, and I want you to write the 3 most important things that you want to accomplish in the next 5 years, okay? Now, don't think about this too much, all right? Because this isn't something that you're going to have to keep set in stone for the rest of your life. It's just to kind of get a general idea. So off the top of your head, if you had unlimited godlike powers and someone said you could be anything you want to be, you could accomplish whatever you want to accomplish, what is that going to be in the next 5 years? If you're online, go to simpleology.com/web cockpit. So this is like a cockpit to a plane, right? But it's all through the web. So what is a cockpit for a pilot? It's a place where he sits and he controls everything. Okay, this is where you're going to sit and control your day. Now, this is a version 1.2 of a Web 2.0 application that we've developed here at Simpleology. And we're going to be modifying this quite a bit over the next couple of years. But I'm sure you'll find that what we have right now is very adequate for what we're trying to do. And it's actually going to make a difference for you. And I will tell you right now that the guys who use this are going to have an edge over the guys who do not use this over the next 12 days, okay? And you'll probably understand why at the end of this thing. We got a couple left to log in. Now, I want to ask you guys a real interesting question here, all right? So how efficient do you think we were of getting things done here when we were switching back and forth between writing these things down and going to the web cockpit and all that? Was it efficient or was it confusing? It was a crooked line. Okay, excellent. All right, Steve, why don't you come up here for a minute? All right, so what you guys just experienced is what most people do throughout their day. You're in a state of confusion. You're not getting things done. We got a couple of things accomplished here, but how do you feel about it? You feel pretty good? Do you feel good about your list?
About what I accomplished? I could have done better if I spent more time on it.
Well, okay, and if you had focused on it. Okay, so hold that thought. All right, now, Steve, here's what I want you to do. I want you to draw a dot. Okay. Then I want you to draw another dot off on the other side there. Okay. Okay, now guys, listen, if you're already logged in and if you finished up your, if you haven't finished up your list, go ahead and finish that up now, okay? So we need a list of the things that you do in the morning, and we need a list of those 3 things that you guys actually want to accomplish, okay? So now we can actually multitask in a meaningful way. You guys have done that, okay?
Are these goals professional goals?
Whatever you want.
Goals? Okay.
3 things that you want to accomplish, right? Whatever they are. Preferably the 3 most important things to you. If you don't do these things, your life's not going to be complete, okay? What I want to show you guys is Thor.
Yes.
Do me a favor. Click up on that thing that says Dreamcatcher up there, okay? So go to the left, a little bit to the left, stop right there. Okay, click on that. Now, as you guys go through this thing, you guys are going to get ideas. As you go through this course, as you listen to this talk, ideas are going to be coming up in your head. Okay, now what I want you to do is, I want you to write these ideas down in this thing we have called the dream catcher. Okay, now you're not making a list here. You're actually going to process this information in a meaningful way here in a few minutes, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so, but what I want you to learn right now is, as any thought comes up in your head that's distracting, like, oh man, there's that thing I got to do. There's that bill I got to pay. Hey, I got a really good idea for how I'm going to win this thing tonight, right? You're in the middle of a talk, and you got to get that idea down. What happens if that idea is sitting around in your head? Say again? It goes away. It goes away, and then what happens to the attention that you should be putting on what you're doing right there in that moment? It's taken away, right? So my theory is that the human brain is like a computer, okay? Do we all know that the computer has like a CPU, you got your hard drive, you got your RAM and all that? Now your hard drive is like your hard storage. That's all the memory that you have stored in your mind, okay? Your past memories, okay? Your RAM is what you can keep currently in this moment right now, and we know that there are physiological limitations to how much memory you can actually have focused in this moment, all right? So if you've got this idea in your head, and it's like sitting there, you're actually taking up that part of your computer, and you're actually slowing it down. So have you guys ever had like several different windows open in your machine? And what happens when you got like 20 windows open? It just slows down. It like just shuts down. This is why, so anybody here in a relationship that they ended and it didn't end so well in the recent past? You don't have to admit that. Maybe there's someone here, right? You, okay, all right. Is it still going on in the back of your mind a little bit? Okay. Do you think it has affected your performance?
Yes, it has.
Okay, well that's what you got going on right there. Okay, so what you got to do is you got to close that program. It's like a little spyware program running in your head, right? Okay, so what you got to do is spyware. You got to go in there and you got to shut it down. You got to identify it and close it. So the dream catcher is a way for you guys to close these little things, these little spyware programs running in your head throughout your day. Okay, so as you guys come through your day and you've got ideas, you just jot them down. You write it down. You hit add item, and then you just go away from it, secure in the fact that you're going to process it meaningfully later on. Okay, is that concept clear to everybody? Okay, all right. Now, as we go through this, little bit by little bit, I'm going to show you guys some more of this thing called the web cockpit, and we're going to get to this exercise called the daily target practice. Now, this is what I want you guys to do to start your day, or alternatively for you, what I want you to do is I want you to use this before you actually get started on a project, okay? Because you guys are going to have projects to work on here. I'm sure you've figured that out, that's going to happen before these 12 days are over. I want you to start that project with this in mind, and you guys will understand exactly how to use it shortly. Now, let's get back to Steve, who's been waiting up here very patiently. Laura, now, would you be so kind as to read out what those three things are for you? Are they very personal, or would you mind?
I would, obviously, like everyone else, start my own successful business.
Okay.
I want to travel to South Africa to volunteer, and eventually settle on a place to build a house.
Okay. Which of those three things is the most important to you?
Well, business, so I can do the other two.
Okay. Yeah. Pretty solid thinking, wouldn't you say? Because that money facilitates it. It's almost like we're stuck in this sort of type of slavery, isn't it? If we got to go to a job every morning, we got to wake up and feed that job, because we know that if we don't continue to go to that job, that money's not going to come in and we're going to starve. So then where do we have the time after that to pursue the things that we want, right? So what you guys are trying to do is something very, very ambitious. You're trying to pull yourselves out of that cycle. Not many people in the world can do that. Okay, you guys are attempting to do that. I will tell you right now that most people who attempt to do that fail. Okay, so if you want to be like everybody else, you do what everybody else does. Knowing that everyone else has failed, okay, you need to think a little bit differently from what everyone else has done. Okay, so let me give you an example. Let's talk about starting a business. Now, what I want Steve to do is I want you to start on that dot on the left. And I want you to draw a line. Now, if the item that Laura talks about here is going directly toward that goal of starting your own business, I want you to continue to draw a straight line. If it's not, yeah, exactly. Okay, so read the first item on the list of things you do during the day.
Okay, I wake up gradually at my own pace.
Okay, maybe it's a slow nudge toward the line, right?
Okay. I pull my laptop out from under my pillow and turn it on. You choose. I'm stuck. I don't know.
I mean, I could see that. It could work.
You said step by step. Right?
No, it's honest. That's good. I like it. Yeah. All right. So it's relatively straight. Okay. What's next?
I open up my Hotmail account through Outlook and press send receive.
Okay.
Then I open up all my IM clients. I know.
True statement?
Well, it is.
Okay, but is that honest? Is his assessment honest?
Yes, because it takes away so much of my day when everyone's like, ha, you're online.
Okay. Notice the first thing she did in the morning. What is the first thing she did in the morning? Besides crawl out of bed and open up the laptop in bed. That's pretty dedicated. She started her email. Who else starts their day with email in the workday? Charles, you don't.
No.
Honestly, you don't.
I usually throw the alarm.
Okay.
And kind of walk around. Email's about down the road.
Down the road. Okay, but when
kind of mosey down there.
once you've moseyed, okay. Yeah, moseying is good. Moseying is not bad. Nothing wrong with moseying. Yeah, moseying is okay. But the first thing when you turn the computer on, do you check your email?
No.
You don't. What do you do?
I go to YouTube first.
You go to YouTube. You are probably the only guy in the room that I would allow that for. Okay? Because everybody knows what Charles does, right? Okay. All right. Anybody else? Anybody have anything different that they do? Is everybody email? First thing, email. What do you got?
Feed and play with the bunny rabbits.
I don't even want to go there. All right. No, that's okay. But seriously, you play with your bunny rabbits. Okay. What about when you turn the computer on? These are live bunny rabbits and not virtual bunny rabbits.
For emails of extreme urgency, like from members who are paying me a lot of money per month.
Okay. Okay. All right. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay. Now, what normally happens in email? Okay. So that's an interesting way. That's an improvement, I would say. Okay. But what do people normally do when they check their email? What is the first thing you do?
Delete all the spam.
You delete the spam. Okay.
Personal stuff?
Look for personal stuff. You look for personal stuff first, right? You too? All right. So here's the thing, guys. The point I'm trying to get at is when you open up email as your first thing, who is taking control of your day from that point forward? The other people. Everyone else who is sending you email. Be it the spammer, be it the guy asking for the JV request, be it the customer. Now that may be your job. So are you in customer care? Is that what you do? Okay. Somebody inside or outside of the company or both?
Inside.
Inside. Okay. So you're not connected to people outside of the company?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you get personal emails?
Yes.
You do. Okay. All right. Now, here's what I want you guys to start doing. Okay. At the very least, I want you to not turn on your email at all. Okay. First thing in the morning. That may not be practical for you for your job because that may actually be part of your job. Now, what you can do is you can devise more efficient ways of dealing with that in your work. Okay. Now that's got to be a conversation with you and your boss. Now, hopefully, that relationship of boss-servant is not going to last very long, right? Okay, because you're trying to get out of that. Well, not all bosses are bad. Some jobs are really good, but it doesn't sound like you're really too happy with yours. Is that right?
No, on my list, it's my list of three.
To get out of the job.
Work for myself, be financially free. So
Okay. All right, that's cool. It's not a great job. All right, well, that's fine. I mean, that's like 90% of the jobs out there. People simply are not happy with what they're doing. Okay, so what I want you to do is shut your email down. Don't turn on your IM. Okay? Don't do anything, right? Until you do this exercise we're going to learn here in a minute, the DTP. Okay? That's the first thing I want you to do. And you'll understand why. Because we're talking law of straight lines here, right? It's a law of straight lines. It's all about the shortest path between 2 points. Well, what do you do first thing when you wake up in the morning? What is the first thing you do?
Take a detour.
No, what should you do? Okay. What should you be doing? Knowing what you know now. Say again?
Planning your day out, maybe?
Planning your day out. Well, that's kind of what you're going to do in the DTP, okay? And that's great. Once you plan that day out, what do?
Execute.
You execute, okay? You take care of those things. Because now, have you ever... Actually, we're good, Steve. Thanks, man. Yeah. All right. So, when you have these ideas in your mind, okay, that you want to accomplish, how often do you actually accomplish those things that you set out to do? Now, in your case, you got a pretty cool job. I mean, you get up and you record YouTube videos all day. I imagine that you spend a pretty good amount of your time and you get a lot done. Would you like to record more YouTube videos, or are you about right?
I'm good right now.
You're pretty
I
good.
got a nice little system worked out.
All right. Now, that's very unusual. You're maybe 1 out of 100 people who are at that. Everyone else here happy with the amount they're getting done during the day? Not at all, right? Because, here's the thing about straight lines, guys. Time is going like this, whether you want to go like that or not, okay? Time is linear. Now, in Simpleology, we talk about 3 sources of power: time, energy, and money. Now, which of those 3 things do you think is the most powerful?
Time.
Time. Why?
Because you can generate any of the others given enough time.
You can generate energy. You can generate money, but once the time is gone, it's gone. At least according to the laws of physics that we know now. Now, if any of you guys have cracked that, come talk to me, because I would very much like to sell that information. It's very good. But that's the fact, guys. Okay, so I think we need to talk about, getting you there. Now, we're in a very different situation right now. Whatever you guys are doing outside of this, you guys are going to put that out of your mind. Okay, now we're going to talk about what you should be focusing on here in a minute. We're going to get to this thing called the major focus tab. Don't go there yet. What I want to do is I want to do a little experiment. Another one. Okay. Let's see here. Big Jason. You're Big Jason, right?
Right.
Okay, come on up. Yeah. You're little Jason. That's right. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's the presupposition is not very kind there, is it?
Lowercase.
All right. All right. Can you get in this box right here? If you can get that low, get inside the box, and there is a blindfold in there. Don't crawl in the box. Yeah, that I'd like to see. See a blindfold? You got it. Okay. All right. Come on down. I think there's a bigger blindfold in there. No, I don't know if that's going to fit on your head.
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, there might be a bigger blindfold in there. Take a look. Yeah, that's the blindfold, actually. I know it looks like a woman's slip, but I figure after she seduced the water, we can't keep this G-rated. All right, so come on down here, Jason, and just stand right here in the middle. Now, who is tall enough to do this? I guess I am, because I'm standing up here. All right, come over here. All right, now turn the other way, and we're going to blindfold Big Jason. Okay. Now, can Jason see?
Yes.
He can. Okay, we'll fix that. Jason, can you fix it so you can't see?
I can't see.
You can't see?
Well,
All
I'm
right.
closing my eyes. So I don't know.
Okay.
I can sit down.
So you can see everything.
Isn't he pretty, though? No, I'm just kidding. That's not the point of the exercise. All right, so Jason, I want you to take one step forward. Stop. I want you to spin around a little bit. Just a little bit carefully. Now actually turn around. Keep going. Nobody say anything because I don't want him to know where anything is. Okay, now I want anybody randomly to say stop.
Stop.
Now I want you to find Charles Trippy.
Martha.
All right, stop. It's actually pretty damn good. Take the blindfold off. All right, now, did you guys expect him to find Charles?
Yes.
Not at all, right? You did. Well, he's a bat, right? Because he's using what? He's using sonar, okay? If he were able to see, do you think it would have been easier for him to do that? Okay. If he didn't have the power of, Batman there and the sonar, do you think he would have been able to do that at all? No, not at all, right? Why not? Can't see where he's going. Okay. Can anybody guess what the second law of Simpleology is? Pretty close. Come on up. You should clear this off, and I want you to write the law of clear vision. Okay? Now, these are all metaphorical things here we're talking about, right? And they're, again, very, very simple, but they're things that you're not doing. Now, I'm a very, very firm believer that all the things that you need to do to accomplish what you want to accomplish in your life are, in fact, very simple. But the problem is you're not doing it. Okay? Those guys who are calling me up every day, paying you $2,000 an hour for marketing ideas, when they already had 100 great ideas, hey, I'll take their money, I guess. $1,000 an hour, I'll give them more ideas. They're not actually acting on those ideas. Okay? If these guys had actually done these very, very simple things, they would have been millionaires many, many times over, years ago. Okay? Anyone here think that's true of themselves? One? What about you? No? Yeah? Yeah? No. True or no?
True.
True. Okay. Being honest. Okay. Law of clear vision. All right. So let's talk about this for a minute. What does that mean metaphorically? Okay. So now we have this little funny little thing where Jason is bouncing into stuff and using his spidey sense and all that to find that. But what does that really mean in your life? Okay. Now applying this to those things that you want to accomplish. Was anyone here not really clear about those 3 things that they wanted to do? Okay. So what did you write? An established, highly trafficked website. All right. Who here thinks that that's a clear vision? You do. Anybody think it's not one? You don't think so. Why not, Thor?
Define high traffic.
Define high traffic. Okay. Does anybody here think that's it's clear or still fuzzy? Still unclear. Why not? Why is it still unclear?
Because I haven't heard any exact target.
Okay. Are you starting to see that? I'm not trying to beat up on you now, okay? This is very, very common, okay? Now, most people, very good, okay? So now most people, what they do is they say, you know what I want? I want to have a whole lot of money, okay? What does that mean? A whole lot of money. How are you going to do that? You're going to start believing you have a lot of money? You think it's just going to come to you? What do you got to do, okay? So clear vision is about things that are tangible, things that you know that you can do, okay? You may have a clear vision and say, I've got a clear vision that I want to have exactly $1 million in 5 years, but do you know how to do that? Does anybody know here know how to make $1 million in 5 years? For sure? You're certain? I'm pretty sure. I think I could do it. I think I got it pretty easy. I think I can do it in about 6 months probably. Not bad. 12 days, right? Okay, pretty good. Well, guess what? That's specific. You're here right now in this moment, okay? Now, I want to teach you guys another tool. This isn't one of the laws of Simpleology, but it's a little thing that you can use. It's called the backward planning process. Now, Joel talked to you guys about my military experience, and, speak what you will about the U.S. military and what it's doing right now and all of that. We probably don't want to get into politics and discuss, I'm sure everybody's got varying opinions on what that is right now and how they feel about that. But there is one thing that's certain, okay? The U.S. military is very, very good at getting certain things done, okay? We can define those things and put them in certain terms, but certain things that they can do very, very well, okay? Now, one thing that an Army officer does when he gets into a strategic level, he uses something called the backward planning process, okay? Now, what they do is, and I'll tell you right now, this is what generals, colonels, majors, captains do before they go out and they plan an operation, okay? Now, when we're planning an operation, we're talking about something that's going to put many, many lives on the line. Not just yours, but a lot of other people's lives too, okay? And I'll tell you, when I was in artillery for a while, I saw, a few little bit of mistake here and there, and people die. Very, very simple. We saw it at Fort Sill. We saw guys didn't really know what they were doing. They were sitting on a hill, and they were using a piece of equipment improperly. 12 guys, just like that. And this is peacetime. Peacetime, guys. So what do you think of wartime? Think it's a little easier to get people killed? Man, serious business. So, if it's that serious, okay, that's how good of a tool this is, because it's the most amazing planning tool on the face of the planet. Okay, and this is what Army officers do today. Now, I've been out for a long time now at this point. Goodness, it'll be 10 years here coming up. Time sure flies. But I'll tell you right now, for my friends that are still in, this is still what they do. Okay, now it's really, really simple. Okay, it's simple in concept, but not so simple in execution, because you got to discipline yourself to use this over and over. What they say is, get a clear end state in mind. Okay, now in Simpleology speak, we're just saying clear vision, right? So get a clear vision of what we call in Simpleology your target, right? That thing that you want to hit, that thing that you want to accomplish. All right, guys, don't write this down. Don't write this. In fact, stop writing. Okay, because you're writing this right now and you're recording it, you're not processing it. Okay? I don't want you guys to record it. I want you to process it. You guys are going to get a little book that's going to explain all this stuff to you. We've got a little thing called the Virtuosity book. You can go back to it anytime. Okay? I want you guys to get it at a cellular level. Okay? All right, so backward planning is this. Okay? What you do is you imagine that moment, all right, when you've accomplished that thing that you want to accomplish. Now, the beauty of this is, right off the bat, this forces you to get clear vision, okay? Because you say, okay, let me imagine a lot of money. And then you go, wait a minute, how much is a lot of money, right? So that forces you to get clear vision. Then you ask yourself, that moment before you got that, what was the very next thing you did? Okay? You follow me so far? Then the moment before that, what's that very next thing you did? Then the moment before that, and the moment before that. Okay? Now, what if we use money for this? Does it make a lot of sense? What do you do right before you make $1 million? Do you know? Well, if you knew that, you probably wouldn't be here, right? Okay? Well, here's the thing, all right? The beauty of the backward planning process, one of the many beauties of it is it tells you there's something you are simply uncertain of, okay? And you go, okay, this is an area I've got to learn. Now, personally, I would not use money as a target like that, okay? Because there are too many variables at stake. Even though I know pretty well, I'm pretty sure that stripped down with my shorts and a t-shirt and some sneakers and an internet connection, I could probably make $1 million in about 6 months, okay? But do I know that for sure? Can I be 100% certain of that? Absolutely not. War could break out tomorrow. Something could happen, right? Maybe the value of the U.S. dollar could drop such that, $1 million is nothing and I can make it in a day. Or maybe it'll change and $1 million will be absolutely unattainable even by Donald Trump. Okay? So we don't know what's going to happen. All right? So that's why a number like that is very, very, I would say, unadvisable. Okay? So what I would tell you guys to do is to focus on specific, attainable things that you know and you can measure and you can understand. Okay? Now, getting a house. All right? Now, that's better. Now, the problem with that is at some point along that way, you say, I got to get a certain amount of money to get that house. So we're never going to get away from that. Okay? But the beauty of the house is it gives you more completeness of the plan. Now, if your whole plan is incomplete and really, really fuzzy, how motivating do you think that's going to feel for you when you wake up in the morning? Totally demotivating. Okay? Motivation comes from many different things, but one of the things that it comes from is being very, very clear and confident. Now, people will tell you, raise your self-confidence. I want you to keep telling yourself over and over and over again, I'm confident, I'm confident, I'm confident. All right? Now, what do you think? What does your brain say when you say that?
Say it?
Yeah, what do you think?
It's not much because I found that you got to feel it in order for it to work for me. So saying stuff doesn't do anything.
So you're not feeling it, okay?
No.
Well, I mean, yeah, and you're kind of saying in a way what I'm thinking, and that's that your brain is saying, well, BS, okay? You're lying to yourself, right? So I don't think that confidence comes from you telling yourself that you need to be confident, okay? I think confidence is something that you acquire over time by actually doing real actions, by doing real things, okay? Now, what I want to train you guys to do is to start gradually building up your confidence. Now, you're in sort of like a very, very difficult situation to be doing that right now because you're going to be thrown into situations where your confidence is going to be blown several times over the next 12 days, okay? I'm just warning you that right now. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative. It's just a fact, guys. It's going to happen, probably, okay? But it's okay, all right? I want you to, when that happens, I want you to think back to this conversation. I want you to go, okay, Mark said this was going to happen. So how do I build my confidence back up? Okay? So are we going to tell ourselves, it's okay? It's all going to be better, right? No, it doesn't work, right? I don't think it works, personally. Now, there's some people who tell you it does. What I think does work is taking small, incremental steps to build your confidence back up. Okay? When you can keep telling yourself, when you send your brain that message, I take action, I get a result. I take action, I get a result. I take action, I get a result. Now what is your brain saying? Does anyone here have any doubt that they can stand up and walk? Nobody. Okay, now that's an unfair statement to somebody who absolutely can't walk. Okay, and if somebody's watching this in the future, I apologize for that. But you guys can. You're very blessed that you can. Okay, you have no doubt that you can. Why? Why do you have no doubt? I mean, you've done it. You've done it 1,000 times, right? But do you know for sure? How do you know that your ability to just, walk isn't going to just go away any second now? Do you know? We don't know that, right? Okay, so what you're doing is you're building up neurological pathways here, all right? You are training your brain. So from what we understand of neurobiology at this point now, one of the things that happens is you are reinforcing pathways, and your brain is this network of cells, okay? And it's not as simple, really, as a computer. We can use that brain as computer model, and it's great. It's useful in some regards, but it's very, very incomplete because the human brain is far more complex than that. Far, far more complex. Now, there's a concept of neural networking, and we're starting to model this now in computing. Okay, they take neural networking, and they have these adaptable machines now. We have computers that learn. They start to create connections and adapt and grow. All right, we haven't come anywhere close to the ability of the human brain yet and what we can do with computers. I mean, we're still light years away. Do you guys realize that your brain is the most complex thing in the known universe? Anybody here know that? You guys all knew that? Didn't know it. Did you know that? You knew it. Okay. It's common knowledge, right? Now, because we know about this neural networking thing, all right, what we need to do is we need to take advantage of this neural networking, and we need to program our networking such that we create a propensity for the types of behaviors that give us the things that we want, okay? Now, that's what we're doing here every single day. So as you guys do this thing called the daily target practice, it looks really, really simple, okay? And it looks like, we're just kind of organizing ourselves. But really what you're doing is you're programming your brain, all right? Now, does anyone here have any doubt that they can program their brain? Everyone believes that, okay? Can anyone here give me an example of mental programming that's going on right now? Go for it.
I was going to say, like, my parents totally program me, but, like, right now?
Well, your parents is fine. That's a great example, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did your parents program you?
Dinner times, and just, like, constantly saying no to things that I wanted to do, probably.
Okay, so they said no to things that you wanted to do, and what happened at that, so then when you had things that you wanted to do, what happened?
Then I thought, like, I couldn't do it because my parents programmed me that way. So.
Okay, so you sort of lost a little bit of confidence with yourself. So you created a neural pathway that was sort of like reinforcing a behavior that you don't want in this case. All right? And I will tell you right now, every single one of you guys have got neural pathways that are very, very unhealthy. Some of you have got some very, very healthy neural pathways built up. Some have got some very, very unhealthy neural pathways built up. I'm sure I do too. Okay, every single one of us do. I don't think we're going to get through this whole life without clearing all those things out. Okay? But we can take certain actions. Now, does anyone here have any events in their past that were very traumatic? Anyone here want to talk about that? Nico.
Yes, I talk about it.
Go for it.
I don't really talk about it, but since I already brought it up. It's kind of what started me on my whole path. It was my own personal hell. My sister was shot 3 times by her boyfriend and murdered. And one day I was a golf pro, and my family called me up. The next day I was in an apartment cleaning her brains up out of the tub. And
wow.
It was kind of an eye-opener, for a lot of reasons.
All right. Well, thank you. Again, it takes a lot of guts. Okay? It's great. Now, here's the thing, guys. Do we judge people when we see them? All the time, right? Now, you could see someone like Nico. Nico may be a little bit shy, not so trusting. You might look at him like, what's wrong with this guy? Is he stuck up? Does he think he's better than me? May you have thought of that when you saw Nico the first time? Nico's he's handling it pretty damn well, I would say. Huh? I spent some time with Nico chatting with him last night, and I would say he's doing pretty damn good for somebody who's gone through that, okay? But now here's the thing, okay? If we have this knowledge, it helps us understand the people around us, right? Everybody's just a product of that, of what they've experienced. Now, I didn't quite expect that kind of answer from Nico. It's pretty mind-blowing, but helps you understand them, and it helps you understand yourself, okay? So here's the thing. First of all, before I carry on with this, you guys have got to work with Nico over these next 12 days. Now, depending on how long Nico is here, okay? But we need to take a point of helping Nico build up his trust, because you guys are all pretty good people here, I'm pretty sure, even though this is a competitive environment, all right? I want you guys to work with Nico a little bit. Just kind of give him some evidence, all right? Build up that neural pathway that it's not as he thinks it is, because not everybody's like that. Well, here's the thing. These neural pathways are also extremely useful, aren't they? Right? Because we develop a neural pathway when we're young, we touch the burner, and it's hot, it hurts our finger, and we stop doing that, right? Not burning your finger on the stove is a good thing, right? So I would say maybe being a little bit overcautious in Nicaragua is probably a good idea, right? Not such a bad thing. So we got to adjust these things, right? All right, now, what I want to do is I want to quickly move you guys through some stuff. You guys starting to get a flavor for this? Okay, you getting a sense of what this is all about? There are a few more laws that I want to teach you guys, okay, and we're going to learn one really, really quick. Charles, can you come up here and grab this sheet of cardboard, okay, and inside there is a spoon. I want you to grab the spoon and grab the cardboard. Inside the box, there's a spoon. See if you can find it. There's a lot of things in the box. We've got a lot of fun to do today. Some scary things, I know. All right, now, this is what I would like you to do. I would like you to stab the cardboard with the spoon. Okay, the other side of the spoon. Can you do it with the other side? Not bad. Wow. Kind of ruining my whole point here, but it's good. All right, now. All right. Oh, damn. See? You see? All right, now. All right, do me a favor. Go in there and grab it. There's a knife in there. Either one. Oh, God, that's a scary one. I said bring me a sharp knife. All right, so now can you stab it with the sharp knife? Okay. Now, did it take a little bit less energy to do it with a knife, like significantly less? So, okay. All right, that's great. All right, thanks. Put that down. That's great. All right, let's give him a hand. Yeah. All right, now, I didn't expect Charles to be strong enough to actually ram that spoon through the cardboard. Okay, we specifically got some really tough cardboard, so note to self, don't tangle with Charles. Stronger than he looks. I'm sorry, I didn't really mean that the way it came out. Oh, shit, it's terrible. It's terrible. Whew. Tact is sometimes not my strong suit. But the point is, guys, what do you think the point of this is? All right. So now we have a spoon which is very, very dull, and then we have a knife which is very, very sharp. Now this is a very obvious and silly thing, okay? But what are we learning about this? What is it that makes something sharp? Now this sounds like a really stupid, silly question, and it kind of is, but it's actually a meaningful question. Have you ever thought about that? What is sharpness? What is that? Say again? It's a point? Okay, what is it that makes a point sharp?
Same direction.
Same direction. Getting there. Resistance?
Surface area?
Surface area. Okay, what about surface area?
Not much for a point. The less surface area, the sharper it becomes. The more surface area, the more dull and blunt.
Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, you guys all had great answers. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Here's the thing about surface area, guys. If you take a certain amount of force, and then you, like if you have a fist, okay, and then you push it against here, you've got diffused energy, right? Because what we've got here is we've got energy moving through space and time, right? And that energy is diffusing on this flat surface. Now what happens when you have a very, very small surface area? Now, Alessandro, you are a martial artist, right? Do you know any techniques where you use like a very focused punch? Pressure points, okay. And so what we're doing in that area too, it's the same thing. You know, if you're pushing somebody's pressure point, or if you're twisting like a wrist lock or something like that, you're focusing a very, very small amount of energy in a very, very tiny, tiny area, all right? And the smaller that area is, the more powerful that energy is, okay? Does anybody not get that? You don't get it. You do get it. You do get it. Okay. It's pretty simple, right? All right, so now you know why a knife is sharp, so you can leave this whole thing and not say you didn't learn anything. All right. What about how much enthusiasm you have about something? Okay, so if you're like, you go to work and you're kind of lackluster, you don't really care too much about it, how well are you going to do that job? I guess I should ask Jamie that question. So do you think you are a top performer at your job?
Not as much as I could be.
Not as much as you could be. Okay. Would you say that you perform the actions that bring you closer to being an internet entrepreneur more effectively?
Not there.
Not there yet. Why not?
Oh, I don't perform them at my job, and I haven't narrowed it down my target to do it when I'm away.
Sorry, I didn't phrase that question properly. So like outside of it, okay, so like let's just say, for example, the audition video that you created for this. Mm-hmm. Now, would you say that you were very efficient in making that?
I think so.
Okay, now does everybody know that she created like a little 2-minute musical in 2 days? Yeah. I would say that's a pretty damn efficient use of time. Now, do you think you could have done that on the clock at your job so efficiently?
If I was excited about it?
If you were excited about it. Okay, so that's the point, guys. Okay, so here's the thing. If you don't believe in what you're doing, I mean, why are you doing it? So why are you waking up in the morning and like answering the email? Do you believe in answering the email? Not really, right? Okay, so what you need to do is you need to focus your time on things that are actually meaningful for you. Now, you wrote that list of things, those 3 things that you wanted to accomplish. Now, if you write that list correctly, the amount of energy that you put into those things is naturally going to go way up, right? I mean, isn't it just obvious that we put more energy into the things that we believe in, the things that are really going to make a difference in our life, okay? You're going to be more enthusiastic, and you're going to apply more focused energy on doing that stuff to get your own house, okay? All right, now, the next law I don't want to demonstrate. I just want to go through this so we can just blaze through it, okay? Now, this is the fourth law, is very similar to the law of focused energy. It's the law of focus. Can anybody guess? Not bad, but... Law of the knife, okay. No, it's different. It's different, okay? So fourth law, okay? So, yeah, similar to the third law, but different, okay? I don't expect you guys to get this. What I'm doing is, this is called the Socratic method, guys, okay? So now I can sit here and I can pontificate at you and sound very eloquent on top of this stage if I so desire, but that is going to be absolutely meaningless in teaching you anything, okay? Because what's that going to accomplish for you, okay? If I put you in a state of mind where you're sitting there going, what is it, all right? You're going to be more receptive. Your brain is more attuned to that. That neural pathway that we're creating is more intense, okay? So I want you guys to carry that bit of information that's unrelated to all of this when you go into the next classes, okay? Because you're going to have to think about how that information applies to what you're trying to accomplish right here, okay? Because what I'm telling you right now, if you think about it, is going to allow you to win this competition. Paying a little more attention now? Okay. Can you see the connection? All right, let me tell you the fourth law. Who knows what the first law was? Law of straight lines. Second law? Law of clear vision. Third law of simpleology. Law of focused energy. Okay, fourth law is the law of focused attention. Anybody guess what that means? Don't be distracted, basically. Well, let me just say, like right now, if I'm telling you this information, and you got some pictures of some, supermodel on your screen, and you're thinking about, your past relationship because I said something, and your brain's going way back to all that. Okay, so how well do you think you're going to be absorbing this information that I'm giving you right now?
Part of my attention is going to be split.
Split, okay. Very easy, right? You guys are getting this. It's very, very obvious to you now, right? Okay, that's law of focused attention. Very, very simple. Same thing when you're getting stuff done throughout your day. If you got your IM ringing, right, is your attention on the things that you need to get done? Probably not very good. She's waking her up. That's not good. It's not a good sign. All right, so here's the thing, guys. When you guys do this exercise, I'm going to show you here in a few minutes, the general reaction that most people get is that they start to accomplish in one day, okay, or in about 2 to 3 hours of a day, what normally takes them about 8 hours to a week. You interested? Okay. If time is the most powerful of the three sources of power, if you can compress time, it's gold, baby. It's money in the bank, all right? So that's what we're going to show you guys how to do. We're going to show you how to actually increase your time power by compressing the time power, okay? Now, you guys get the 4 laws. Let's go over them again. First law is what? Law of straight lines. Second law is? Third law is don't talk about Fight Club. No, third law is what? Law of focused energy. Fourth law? Law of focused attention. All right. Now, the fifth law is going to take a second to explain to you guys, and it's called the inevitability of action and reaction. Okay? Now, before we get to that, I want to tell you guys a little something interesting. There are, I believe, 2 questions that you will ask yourself in your life that are the most important questions you can ask yourself. And you're asking yourself these questions right now, this very moment, this very second. You are unconsciously asking yourself these 2 questions. Okay? You know what they are? Do you want to know? Okay. All right. First one is really, really simple. Are the actions you're taking bringing you closer to or further away your desired targets? Yeah. I know what you're going to say. Very close. It's the same thing, really, basically. Okay, he was going to say your goal. Kind of talking about the same thing. We say targets because it focuses people's energy or attention on, like, the thought of hitting a target. Goal, it's just so vague. I got all these goals, right? And who makes their goals, right? It's like a New Year's resolution, right? Who keeps that crap? Nobody. Okay? All right, so are the actions you're taking right now in this moment bringing you closer to or further away from the things that you want or from your desired targets? Okay, and the second question is, are the things you're doing right now in this moment increasing or decreasing your what? Your power. Okay, what are the three sources of power? Time, energy, and money, right? Now, there's a fourth source of power, okay, which is all about leverage, okay? What we're talking about is leveraging the power of other people, which is extremely powerful. But you got no business learning that if you haven't mastered the time, energy, and money of yourself, right? So how are you possibly going to leverage the time, energy, and money of other people if you're farting around watching cartoons all day, right? It's just not going to work. Okay, so 2 questions. What's the first question? Are the actions you're taking bringing you closer to or further away from what? Your desired targets. Are the actions you're taking increasing or decreasing your what?
Power.
Your power. And what are the 3 sources of power? Time, energy, and money. Okay? Now, the 5th law of symbology is really, really simple. And when you guys get this is going to be a breakthrough for you guys. Okay? Now, I'm telling you guys all this stuff very, very casually, but I'm telling you right now, if this sits in like maybe 3 hours from now, it's going to click and you're going to go, you know what? Whoa, wait a minute, I get that. Okay? And it's all going to come from this law if you understand it. Because if you can get into this state of mind, if you can get into this awareness, this is going to put you into the realm of not just the top 1%, this is going to put you in like the 0.0001% of people on this planet. Because I've met a lot of people in my life. Very, very few people actually understand and implement this. But the ones that do, always, always, always outshine the other guys. Okay? Like I'll tell you right now, the guys that do very, very well of my friends live and breathe this, whether it's conscious or unconscious. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're almost like creating the programming that is required to be like that, to be that person who's getting those amazing results and actually replicate it, to sort of reverse engineer it. Okay, so the 5th law is what? Who knows it? The inevitability of action and reaction. Okay, now, what this means is that every moment that you are awake, you are taking some form of action. All right, now, right now, you're sitting here in your chair. Do you think you're acting? Very much so, right? What about when you're sitting on your butt watching TV? Are you acting? Absolutely, right? And there's actually a symphony of reaction going on when you watch that TV. Talk about programming, right? How much programming is going on in your brain when you watch the TV? Is that the programming that you want? No. Okay? So even when you think that you're just sitting around and doing nothing, when you're procrastinating, okay, you're actually doing something. Now this is the key here, right here, okay? If you can just flip this little switch in your head, you're going to see the world in a different way, okay? I will tell you right now that the concept of procrastination simply doesn't exist. It's a figment of your imagination. Think about that. Why? Because you're always acting. Okay? So if you're always acting, well, all you got to do then is just choose to do the things that are doing what? Answering those 2 questions. Okay? Because you're asking yourself those 2 questions right now, whether you're conscious of it or not. And that time is doing what? It's going. It's heading that straight line. Okay? If you can get in tune with that, okay, if you can really, really absorb that, all right, I will tell you it will take some time because you can make that awareness right now. Maybe 3 hours from now, it's going to pop in your head and you're going to go, damn, okay, wait a minute, I get this. Okay. Now, when you guys are on one of these challenges, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to sort of plant this seed in your head. Okay. I'm going to make you guys way more fierce competitors than you were before. Okay. When you start these challenges, I want you to remember this as a trigger in that moment. You go, I'm starting the challenge. I'm going to remember the 5th law. And the 5th law is what? Okay. You're going to have 1,000,001 choices about what you can do with that time when you're in that. Now, do you think everybody is going to be following these 5 laws? Now, if you take a group of people who are following these 5 laws in that competition and a group who are not at all, who do you think is going to win? Pretty clearly, right? I don't think there's any competition or any doubt. Okay? All right, now what I want you guys to do, we'll get back to some of that. I want you, Thor, to click on the major focus button there. All the way to the right. Everybody follow along with Thor if you would. Okay, now, you guys have these accounts now. I want you guys to change the passwords later on because I want you to make this extremely personal for you. Okay? I want you to write this. We simply cannot look at this information at Simpleology. It's impossible for us to do so. Okay? So I just want you guys to guard that password with your life, because if you guys don't put all of your heart into this, and if you don't write what you really, really want, if you're not honest with yourself, it's not going to be as powerful. Okay? So what I want you to do, Thor, is click on the My Ultimate Life tab. Fourth one from the left. There you go. All right, now, I want you guys to do this right now. Don't do it right now, okay? But what I want you guys to do is later on tonight, if you got some downtime, sit here and really, really think about this, okay? So we're asking you questions. All right, can you scroll down just a little bit, Thor? It says, if I were blank, then I would be profoundly happy and fulfilled. My life would be complete, and I would consider myself a success. Now, when you first read this question, your first reaction might be, what a bunch of self-help, personal development, rah-rah crap, right? I want you to get past that reaction right now, okay? Because if you really, really answer these questions, it's going to be like flipping a switch in your head. Remember that thing that we talked about, getting to that awareness? If you do this right, getting to that awareness is going to be 10 times easier. Why? Because you've got a reason to do it, okay? If it's not meaningful for you, you're just not going to learn it. Anybody here remember any of their high school physics? Nobody, right? Well, you do a little bit. Were you interested in physics?
I taught high school science.
Okay. Well, there you go. The only guy, because you actually taught it. You had a very, you had to use it again, and it was meaningful for you because you probably wanted to help kids. You wanted to teach them, right? So you paid attention, all right? Now, if you're watching this whole thing, if you're watching, a physics class and it's not meaningful to you, are you going to retain that information? Obviously not, okay? So you've got to personalize all this stuff, and the more deeply you personalize it, the more intense the impact is going to be, okay? Believe me when I tell you this, all right? This is something, I don't have many beliefs in my life because I think belief is sometimes a lot of nonsense. We believe a lot of crap that just isn't true. But this is something from my personal experience that I have observed over and over and over again, and you can test this for yourself as a scientist, okay? This man over here probably understands a lot about the nature of science, about observation and, being able to reproduce results, seeing what's really there, right? It's not about what you think is right. It's about what you observe and what you see, right? Doesn't matter what you think, because a lot of times, that's right. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether or not you believe in gravity. It's there, right? Okay. Now, well, we know that there have been a lot of scientific theories in the past that have been very, very well accepted. Anyone here familiar with phrenology? You know what phrenology is? Phrenology was a way of reading the bumps on your head. I think it would be a lot easier for me now that I'm losing hair, but what they do is they rub your head and they check the bumps and they say, from the size of the bumps on your head, I can tell your personality and your future. Woo! Right now, I'll tell you that people took phrenology very, very seriously many years ago. Some people thought it was, in fact, a scientific discipline. Yeah, pretty scary, right? Well, we look back on it now, and we realize that it was just a bunch of hogwash. I think people tend to be a little bit more educated about science now. Anybody know who Ambrose Bierce was? Ambrose Bierce wrote a great little book called The Devil's Dictionary, and he had great definitions for words. You know what he called phrenology? A method of picking the pocket through the scalp. Okay? Well, that's what it is, right? I mean, we're pretty sure now, unless somebody comes back with some very, very clear observations and evidence, that phrenology actually works. I don't think it does. All right, so the point of all this is you guys can observe this stuff for yourself, and I want you guys to treat this like scientists. So everything we're talking about here, fine, I'm telling you I'm very, very confident about it. So what? Okay? Doesn't matter what I've accomplished in my life. Doesn't matter how much I know. Doesn't matter how much I've done. I can still be completely mistaken about a lot of things. In fact, I may be completely mistaken about maybe a couple of the things I told you today. I have no idea. Only you can know that, right? But if you accept that information on blind faith, what's going to happen to you?
At some point, you're guaranteed to be wrong.
Pretty much, right? Because if everybody tells you different ideas, right? I mean, that's just, it's inevitable, right? So this is why you must train yourself to think like scientists. Now, what I want you guys to do tonight is answer those questions, all right? So actually, why don't you add one? Just add one, Thor. Just say what's something off the top of your head that if you were blank, maybe the next internet millionaire. Okay, click on the button that says Add Focus. Okay, now, I want to show you guys a couple quick things here, and we'll move on and show you the rest of this. Now, if you click over there where the little clipboard is, okay, next to where it says Set As, click that. Now, there's a little tool here. Go ahead and click it. There's a little tool here that will allow you to create a backward plan. Okay, it's going to ask you to walk through that process. Just create it right here, and it'll always be there for you. Okay, go ahead and close that down. So you guys understand about the backward planning process now, right? So if you can look at that thing that he wants to be, create that backward plan, now what do you got to do? You've got to execute it in reverse. It's very, very clear. Okay, go ahead and close that down. All right, now, where it says Set As, don't do anything with this yet. Just hit the drop down, just so we can see what it is. Short-term focus, medium-term focus, or long-term focus. Okay, don't set it as either of those right now. Now, the trash can is obvious. You guys know what that does. All right, so you guys can take that and you can make that your short, medium, and long-term focus in your life if you so choose. All right, now what I want you to do is I want everyone to go to the long-term focus tab. All right, now, something you want to achieve in the next 6 months to 3 years. Actually, I want it to be something that you want to achieve in the next 12 days. So I want everyone to write here, right there, in that little section, to be the next internet millionaire. I want you to write that down. All right, now, it says, can you define this more clearly? I don't think it's going to be much clearer than that. You know, and there are a lot of unknowns here that you guys don't have, but it's a pretty cut and dried thing. You're either going to win this or you're not. Okay, now, but I must beat Big Jason pretty good. Well, you're going to have to beat the 11 other people here, too. Let me make that 10. Now, what you do there is, it says, remember the law of clear vision. Write down more specifically, more clearly what that thing is. Okay, so we're forcing you guys to actually live this stuff that we're telling you about. Okay, now the third thing is, how important is it that you hit this target? Now, I see a lot of people use this tool and they sort of write a little thing in there. They don't clarify it in the second blurb, and then they don't go down and fill out what that third thing is. Now, what do you think happens if you don't fill in that third section? Little Jason, just in general, what's the difference?
The one is it's an idea that's sitting out there and there's no clear focus or energy to be able to go forth. Tonight it's just kind of, I want to be the next internet millionaire. Well, what's it going to take to get there? What steps or what paths, what actions are going to get there?
That's right. Well, here's the thing. It's all about giving you that focused energy, right? So how will it make you feel when you hit it? What benefit will it give you? What will happen if you don't? Get specific and emotional. Right now, the nice thing about this is if it's something that's not specific, if it's not emotional, right, you're going to be very, very aware of that very quickly. Because sometimes we tell ourselves, this is what I really want to do. And I'll tell you right now, if you can't find that for it, stop wasting your time. Because it ain't going to happen, probably, for the most part. Everybody see that? Okay. All right, now, I want you to go to your short term. I want you to write as your target, to win tonight's challenge. What's today? What's the date today?
23rd.
7/20. Okay, to win the challenge of 7/20. What, 23rd? Is it 23rd? I don't even know what date it is. Cross the date line. I'm all confused coming from Auckland. All right, so to win the challenge of 7/23. Okay. Can you define it more clearly? Not yet. We don't know what it is, do we? Okay, but we are going to know that very shortly. So when you guys get that, I want you guys to fill that in there. Okay? Now, how important is it that you hit this target? I do want you guys right now to spend the next 30 seconds writing that down. Okay, now, unless you're Thor, I can't see what you're writing. Okay, so really, really write that down and really be serious about that. Ready? Go. What benefit will it give you? What will happen if you don't? Get specific and emotional. You hear the keys flying, that's good. Keep going, guys. If you really do this right, it should be striking some kind of emotional chord with you. You don't have to click save on this, just so you guys know. This is all really good programming here. Saves it automatically. It's all right there for you. Okay. All right, guys. All right, let's stop. Had about a minute and a half. Alison, you're still writing, I want you to keep writing when we're done with this, okay? Because you got a lot to say, and I don't know if you got it all out. But it's important that you guys get this, okay? 30 seconds is a lot of pressure to get something this intense out of your head, okay? But it's super, super important that you do this. Can you guys see the difference now? Can you see why it's important? Okay. All right. Now, that's your short-term focus for tonight. Now, what I would like you guys to do is, next time you have another focus or another challenge that's a project like this, I want you guys to do the same thing. Okay, make that your short-term focus. And I want you to write that same thing. Write that maybe you're angry at someone in this competition by now, okay, at that point. I hope that doesn't happen between a lot of you guys, but it's probably inevitable. I really got to beat that so-and-so. Well, you already said that, so. Yeah.
It's all in good fun, right?
I know it's all in good fun. You guys love each other, right? All right. You asked, is it? We'll see. Find out soon enough. Okay, now, Thor, can you scroll up a little bit? All right, who could tell me what the dream catcher was for? You guys are getting a crash course in something that takes people 18 days to learn. Okay, so you're cramming a lot of information fast. Jason? Get your ideas out of your head. And
for the ideas and keep them there so you don't forget them.
Keep them there so they're not sitting there mucking up your brain, right? Go back to them later. Okay, now, here's the thing. Actually, what we're going to do, go ahead and click on the dream catcher now. Can you just write down there, click add item. Oh, I'm sorry, no. Yeah, you've already got the box there. Just add any old random item in there. You know, something like, go to the store and buy some orange juice. Buy some memory for this PC. Okay, probably not a bad move. All right, now click add item. Okay, now, you guys don't have to do this. I just want you to see how this process works. Now what I want you guys to do is I want everyone, you're going to learn this exercise. Now again, this is stuff that people learn in 18 days, but you guys are all competitors. You guys are all super smart. We expect a lot out of you guys. That's why I'm giving you guys this crash course, okay? It's tough, but you know what? You guys can do it. You have total faith. All right, now, you're going to learn this little exercise called the daily target practice. Every morning, when I wake up, before I go to work, I do this. You everybody here know of an internet marketer named Telman Knudsen? Yeah. Telman's a really good friend of mine, and Telman's company is doing very, very well right now. I think they're grossing millions a year. Telman, and this is something a lot of companies do now, he has every single team member in his company start their day with this. Okay? Every day. If they don't do this, they haven't started their day yet. Okay? And he's absolutely fanatical about doing this. All right? So I hope that will tell you something. There are a lot of companies that are using this now. We've got, over 225,000 users of this system now. And the companies that are using it, we got Olympic athletes, we got CEOs, we got internet marketers, we got musicians, we got work-at-home moms. All these people are using this stuff, okay? And it's making a real big difference for them. Okay, now this is the thing that they do. This is what it culminates in, because once you're doing this, the daily target practice every day, everything that we talked about is going to start kicking in for you automatically, right? Because it actually forces you to do it. But here's the thing. You got to actually read the instructions, and you got to do it precisely as it's listed there. Now, when you get good at this, you should be able to do it somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes. Now, because you guys are in a real tough, tight competitive situation here right now, I think you guys need to be able to do it in about 5 minutes, okay? Because when you're preparing for that challenge, you want to blaze through this thing. Don't think too much. Just get it all down. Okay, now, go ahead. Let's go through this. Go ahead and click on the Daily Target Practice button. Everybody follow along with Thor here. Now I'm going to blaze through this, guys. Go ahead and click on Daily Target Practice Complete. Okay, now I'm going to go really, really quickly here through some extra stuff. But because it's all scripted out and because the instructions are all there, it's really, really easy for you guys to follow. Okay. Now, because you've got some spyware installed on your computer right now, which you all know about, your computer's probably a little slower than it should be, but you just have to deal with that as part of the competition. Now, these instructions, you guys can read these later. Basically, it's telling you, get into that mode of what we were telling you before. Okay. Don't answer your phone. Turn your phone off. Turn your email off. Turn your IM off. Get everything off your table. Get everything out of your head but this, because this is all that matters. Okay. Go ahead and click on Ready and hit Next. Now, you guys will notice when I start talking about this, I start to feel a little bit more psyched. You know why? Because I've trained myself now. I've done this so many times. I see this, and I get pumped up. All right? So that neural pathway for me, I see this thing, I get psyched up, I'm in an energy mode, I'm getting a lot of stuff done. And I know that once I go through this thing, I'm going to be in a state of absolutely massive action. Okay? And if I'm not in that state, I've done this thing wrong. But you're going to get to a point where you're doing this very, very well. Okay, now, it's asking you, quiet location, all distractions removed. You guys know all this now, right? Okay, go ahead. Next. Check all those boxes. We're going to be improving this interface over time. By the way, guys, this is version 1.2. We have version 2.0 coming out very, very soon. And this is all we do in this company. I don't have any other thing in my business life but to work on these products for you guys to make this better and better and better. Okay, so I want to hear feedback from you guys after this too. All right, brain dump each must-do item here one by one. Because I don't want you guys to write anything real here right now, okay, because this is not the real deal. You're going to do the real deal as soon as you get your task. Okay, so go ahead and brain dump just a couple of things, a couple of random thoughts off the top of your head. Things that you have to do today, like you got to pay a bill, you got to go, visit your grandma, whatever it is, something nagging in the back of your head that you got to do, right? We all wake up in the morning and we know we've got this stuff, right? But what do we normally do? We let it sit around and clutter up our head, and then what do we act like through the rest of the day? We act like bumbling idiots, bounce around from this thing and that. Okay, we're going to stop that right now. Okay, so just go ahead and write two things. You got to remind yourself to go to the bathroom. That's pretty good, Thor.
Use it right now.
I know, I'm messing with you. That's good. All right, I know it's just random stuff. One more thing, Thor. Eat dinner. Okay, add item. Perfect. All right, now go ahead and click next. As soon as that comes in, pow. Now, you guys will notice it's a little bit different from most web applications you see. This is really, really interactive. Stuff that you see saves automatically. It comes up automatically. This kind of programming, just so you guys know, as you get into the computer world here and the internet, is Ajax. Okay, Ajax is really the thing to be programming in these days. And what it is, it allows you to be more interactive with the browser, because the browser is getting more and more important in people's lives. Okay, all right. Now, this is something we have called the energy or the power praxis. Okay. I don't want to get too deep into this right now because it's not important for the purpose of what you guys are doing. But in the long term, it's extremely important for you. So what we do is we cycle through this thing. One day you focus on time. One day you focus on energy. The other day you focus on money. And what you're doing is you're slowly and surely building up those three sources of power so that you have greater and greater mastery of your time, energy, and money. So let's just really quickly look at it. It says, identify energy leeches. All right, so there are things in your life that are taking away your energy. Okay? Like, for example, is there a toxic person in your life? Every time they call, like, you're doing great, man, things are clicking, and they call up and you're like, man. Yeah? Right? Everybody? Emotional vampires, right? Okay, so let's just go ahead and write something down. Let's just say, maybe it's that you smoked a cigarette. Okay, now I know you don't, well, I saw you, well, okay. You probably don't do that all the time. Smoked a cigar from Nico. Bad advertising for Nico. All right. Yeah, it's okay. All right, go ahead and add it. So it says add to the observation log. Okay, now, what you're doing here is over time, you're adding this set of observations. And as you get better and better at observing these things about yourself, you're becoming more and more aware of the things that are going on in your life that are increasing your time power, decreasing your time power, increasing your energy power, decreasing your energy power, and same thing with money. Okay? All right, now, so scroll back up. You'll notice that it automatically added that to your observation log. Now it says, I'm sorry, go back down. Perfect. All right, so hit next step. Now do all those things there. Add everything that you've observed, like since the last time you did that. Again, it could be that you ate some crap food, right? Because we all know that eating those candy bars doesn't give us any energy. Okay? Could be that you smoked a cigarette. Could be you drank some liquor. Whatever it is, everybody's body is different. Everybody's biology is different. Everybody's wired different. What gives you energy isn't going to give the next guy energy, probably. But there are certain constants, I think, there. All right? All right, so it says identify energy leeches. You've actually done that. Hit next now. Next step. Leave it. Okay, now, actually what happened is it switched so quickly that you didn't even see. Because the way this is programmed, guys, these windows just change really, really quickly. It's almost all there in memory, so it behaves sometimes a lot like a downloadable program. You expect a web application, every time you click it, to sit there and lag for a long time. But in a lot of cases, when you do something right here, it's all happening in the background really, really fast. So he got tricked by that, so I'm glad you noticed it. So he's already at the next step. So it says remove the leeches. All right, so what you're going to do now is you're going to talk about specific things that you can do to actually remove these energy leeches from your life. So for example, if one of the things that's taking energy from you, all right, is that you're eating crab food, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to erect a barrier in front of you and that behavior that's taking your energy away. Right? Now, if you don't do this, it's going to keep coming back because we're working on neural pathways, right? You're going to trigger that stuff coming back again and again and again because every time you see that box of ho-hos in your cupboard, you're going to grab for the ho-hos, right? We grab what's convenient. We take what's convenient, right? So what we do is we change our environment. So these things simply aren't there. Now, if it's a toxic person, it's going to be a little harder, right? It's going to be a little more difficult to get them out of your life. Maybe you can't get them out of your life because there's someone that you love very much, okay? That's true for a lot of us. But there are things that you can do. Everybody get that? Okay. All right, go ahead and hit next step. All right, step 3 is identify energy boosters. We all know what this is, right? What did you do that boosted your energy? Did you listen to a song that got you hyped up, right? I listened to a real good song this morning, made me real pumped up, made me feel good, right? Sometimes I talk to certain people, it makes me feel really good. Sometimes talking in front of people, it makes me feel really good. Everybody's different. We've all got different things that boost up our energy. If you can start identifying that and creating that set of knowledge, you can know. And then you start reinforcing that behavior, start doing more of that. So go ahead and hit click next. Now step 4 is get more. So what can you do now to make it easier for you to do that? So I'll give you the example of food, okay? So if the food that gives you energy is like fresh fruits and vegetables and healthy food, because we all know that in the long term, for almost all of us, eating those foods is going to give us more energy, right, than eating a lot of the junk food. Can anybody here not experience that? Everybody knows that, right? Common knowledge, all right? So what you do is you go out and you buy that food and you make it available in your house, okay? If it's a person that you enjoy working with, well, maybe you set things up so you work a little bit more with them. So what you're going to do is you're going to set specific actions so that you can actually do something today to make that happen. So we're not just going to think about it. We're not just going to talk about it. We're going to do something today that will actually get you doing more of that, doing more of the energy boosting stuff. Making sense so far? Okay, go ahead and click next step. All right, now this is basically getting you to understand everything that we've been talking about so far. Now, the next thing we do is we're getting in touch with our major targets. So essentially what we're doing here is we're finding specific actions that are going to bring us closer to those daily targets. Notice that you're probably not going to write down sift through spam email. You're probably not going to write down, go to YouTube unless you're Charles Trippy. You're probably not going to write down go check the news. Okay? You're going to write down specific things that will actually bring you closer to that. Now tonight when you guys do this, you guys are going to write down an actual specific set of things that you have to do to accomplish this. You'll have a much clearer idea of what that is. Okay? So go ahead and scroll down a little bit. Check all those boxes off. You don't have to actually write something now, but just go ahead and, let's write one quick thing. Let's just say, write, action for target. Okay? Okay, now hit add item. Perfect. Okay, now scroll down a little bit and hit next. Beautiful. All right, does it make sense so far? Okay. All right, now, the system practice is something a little bit different. All right, now this is something we'll actually unlock for all of you guys. And this is something very, very specific about money. And if you guys can take a little bit extra time to learn this, it's going to be very, very powerful for you because this is actually what I do in my business. Telman manages his business with this. A lot of businesses do this because it's giving you a specific, actionable way of improving the amount of money that your business can make. All right, now, go ahead and hit next. All right, now, we're going to go through a little process here called do it, deliberate, or dump it. Can you scroll down just a little bit? All right, now what you do here is you'll see these little icons, okay? The deliberate button moves that information to something called the mental lockbox, okay? So you do that when it's something that you're not actually going to work on today, okay? So if it's not an actual actionable item that you are for sure going to do today, you're either going to deliberate on it or you're going to dump it, okay? Because now, who here uses to-do lists to manage their time, all right? Let me tell you right now that the to-do list, well, let me just ask you this. How's that working out for you, the to-do list thing? So. But here's the problem, okay? There are many problems with to-do lists, okay? First of all, they're completely devoid of context, all right? So you have this random list of things. It's like, research getting a house, take out the trash, do a joint venture with this guy over here, right? All this totally random stuff. And on there's a whole ton of stuff that you're probably not going to do, okay? It's not meaningful to you at all in any way, all right? So this is why when people start using to-do lists, it actually reinforces very, very negative behavior. All right? So people stop using to-do lists. Who here has bought a day planner? I don't want to use any names of actual ones, but you know these little planning devices. How long did you use it for, Steve?
Probably a couple months.
A couple months, then you stopped. How about you, Laura? Couple days. All right. Well, one of the reasons why you stopped doing it is because you attached a lot of pain to it. Every time you open that thing up, it's like, oh man, there's that list of crap that I can't sort out in my head, right? What does that tell you? Open up the planner, pain. Open up the planner, pain, right? You're going to keep doing it? Of course not, all right? Further, it doesn't have any real connection to the things that you want, because where in the day planner does it say, hey, what's really meaningful to you in your life, right? It doesn't say that anywhere, does it? Okay, so this is a way of organizing what's going on in your life that's more congruent with the way your brain actually works. All right, so you're going to decide on each of these things: do it, deliberate, or dump it. Do it means you're actually going to do it today. All right, now since we're just playing around today, go ahead and just randomly click, Laura, just a couple things here. Can you guys tell what each icon is?
Do you want me to dump it?
Just like do each for each one. So like you can. Go ahead and dump it. Yeah, why not?
Sorry, Carly, no shower for me tonight.
No, not next yet. Sorry. It's okay. Yeah, please classify our items first. Okay, so there you go. That's fine. You can do it either way. Remove this item. Yeah. Now go ahead and click the icon next to it for the next one. You don't have to, just so you guys know, if you hit the checkbox, you can use the little icons down at the bottom. Some people I know like to hit a bunch of checkboxes and then do them all at once. Some people like to go one by one. We made it either way for you guys, all right? So you can click that. That's the deliberate button. Okay, go ahead and click that. Now that's going to go into your mental lockbox, all right? So that means it's out of your head now. You're not going to do it today. You can go back to that safely at any point in your life, all right? It doesn't matter. Because it's not something you're doing today, you want to get it completely out of your head. Why? You don't want it sucking up all those resources, right? All right, so let's do the next one. All right, so there's, and what's that? Do it, okay? Pow. All right. Now that means you're actually going to do it. Really simple, right? Now click next. Now, all the things that you're actually going to do, you're going to do it now. You're going to delegate it, okay? You're going to schedule it, or you're going to dump it. So we give you a second chance to dump stuff, right? Why? Because there tends to be a lot of stuff on these lists that you really, really need to dump. So you got to evaluate and ask yourself, is it really important that I do this? Okay? So what I want you to go ahead and do now is just go ahead and click do it now for one. Yeah, that's fine. And then click delegate on another one. Now the delegate task, you can actually say who that's for. So when you guys are doing this stuff as teams, you can actually, when you say, hey, this person's going to do this, you're going to write out, delegate to this person. All right? Now, in the real world, you're going to have due dates. Here, you're probably not going to have due dates because everything's going to be like, when is it due? In 5 minutes, right? Now. All right. So go ahead and put to Nico. And then click on the calendar there for a due date. Just go ahead and click today. Next. Pow. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you actually have to click OK on that. Click the little green button. Yeah, perfect. So that saves that. There you go. Now click next. Okay, congratulations, you guys have done it. So the point of this now is you've got a specific list of things that you are actually going to be able to act on today. Okay, not a bunch of meaningless stuff that you may do several days from now or several years from now. Not a bunch of stuff that's not related to what's important to you. This is stuff that you absolutely have to do and that you've committed yourself to do today. So when you click go, this is probably going to answer Nico's question, all right? You immediately start to train yourself that when you click that, you close that window, click X, all right? Now, scroll down, Simpleology missions, you guys can figure out for yourself what those things are. You've actually only got one actionable item today out of all that stuff. Isn't that amazing, right? It doesn't seem like you'd have only one actionable item, but notice that she only set one of those items as do it. Okay, one was delegate. She doesn't have to do that. That's in the delegation area. Okay, she's moved that over there. That's out of her head. So this is beautiful because you don't have as much to do every day as you think you do. And if you can just train yourself to realize that you only got like 2 or 3 things to do or 4 or 5 meaningful things to do that day, doing stuff in the day is actually pretty cool because you know that the first thing you do in the morning is you're getting meaningful things that are actually bringing you closer to the things that you want. All right, now, what I'll tell you is you start using this and you get out of the habit of waking up every morning and using email, you're going to start to see some pretty profound changes, because you're going to start to see yourself getting closer and closer to the things that you want. Now, the reason you haven't been getting the things that you want in a lot of cases, now you guys are very, very successful and very talented, so you guys are way above and beyond the average person, but everybody can tweak this. We can all do better and better. I know I can get better and better at this every single day. As you get better at this, you're going to find that you're getting more done, and you're actually getting closer to the things that you want, and you're building up that set of neural pathways that says, I've got these things that I need to do, and I know that when I set myself out to do that, I do it. And then what happens? You get confidence. Okay, remember we said we don't do the things that we want to do because we have a lack of confidence. So you're creating a confidence neural pathway. You're creating an action neural pathway, all right? And you're also creating a neural pathway that believes in the things that you want to accomplish, because you know, well, I know that if I want to do something, all I've got to do is go through these steps and take these sets of actions and just trust that this process is going to work, and I get those things. Okay. Now, guys, that's it. We take 18 days to teach people what you guys just learned in a very, very short period of time, because we chunk it down into very, very small chunks. Now, you guys are not going to remember all of this. So what you've got to do now is you've got to discipline yourself over the next couple of days to really, really use this. And it's going to be a little more difficult on the first day or two. But now, if you're a team leader, what I want you guys to do is say, hey, guys, remember that talk we had with Mark? Right? This is the first thing we're going to do now to start this. So it's not starting your morning. Now you're starting this area of action. So we can sort of like modify and adjust this tool to our purpose. Now our purpose for you guys is going to be to win this damn challenge tonight, right? Okay. Now all you got to do is follow this. You have a very, very clear idea of what you need to do, and I'll guarantee you're going to get about 50% more done, at least, when you do this tonight. Jamie.
Are there ways to separate your to-do list into primary and secondary lists?
Okay, first of all, we never say the word to-do list, all right? It's sort of like, because a to-do list, I mean, to me is like, I just want to distinguish this from to-do lists, because the to-do lists that's that dangerous thing that you did before that didn't work, right? Because we all know we threw away our planners, didn't work, right? So, no, right? Because you're probably going to have such a small list of things to do that it's not going to matter. Now, it's going to be very easy for you to do that because there are such small things there, and you can just sort of like scroll through it and you can decide yourself, right? Now, if it was a list of like 100 things, and some of these things were like things that you were going to do in the future, and you didn't know whether you're going to do those today, it might be necessary to actually do that. Now, for me personally, what I'll do is I'll just knock out easy stuff, right? Like if I got things that I know I have to do really, really quick, like I got to make a quick phone call and like order something, or like, you know, schedule something or whatever. Or now, you know, with my assistant in my office, it's like, you know, Tom, do this, right? I'll do that, and I know that's done. I'll move it over into that station. You know, I'll move it over to the delegation station when it's there. So, I mean, that's totally up to you how you want to manage that. But I don't imagine it's going to be a problem for you. If it is, let me know, because that's something that we can incorporate into newer versions of that. Any other questions? All right, now, before I started teaching people this, I did a lot of work in internet marketing, okay? And you guys may know some of that. Joel talked a little bit about what I've done. Guys have any questions for me in that regard? Where I might be able to help you? Some advice for tonight? I'm here for you guys. Go ahead.
If you lost it all overnight, what would you do and how would you do it?
Damn good question. Well, the first thing I would do is I would probably go to this tab here that says My Ultimate Life.
You wouldn't have that.
If I didn't have it, I'd go sign up for an account because it's free. Okay. Seriously, that's what I would do. I mean, I built this on what I would do. Now, I've noticed there are times, like in older versions of this, I would sort of like fudge things and not actually use it. And I go, wait a minute, if I'm not using it, I got to fix it. So we'd actually change things and modify it. So I would actually go in and fill out that tab and find out what's important to me right now. What's going to make me feel fulfilled. It may just, in fact, be that being a internet entrepreneur isn't actually what's going to make me happy. You ever considered that? Maybe, maybe not, right? Now, probably not the context to be bringing that question up. But I would say for probably about a third of you, it's true. Okay, you may not realize it yet. Maybe there's something else that's going to make you happy. Maybe there is a more direct route to get there. So you know what happens is we get this idea in our life. You know, we're young and we realize we want to be a rock star, right? I think a lot of us, wanted to be a rock star, or I don't know, maybe Jason wanted to be a school teacher when he was a kid too. But so then what we realize is, well, to be that thing, I got to make some money. So we get out there and we compromise in the world and we do something else to make the money. And then our purpose in life becomes this thing that was the vehicle to get the other thing that we actually wanted. Right? Anyone here done that? Everybody, right? Okay. So that's honestly what I would do. And in fact, I would reevaluate that area on a regular basis, because what is going to fulfill you over time as you develop as a person is going to change too. So that wasn't an internet marketing question, but probably the more relevant question to ask. So good. Go ahead.
You said you could make $1 million in 6 months. How would you do that?
Damn good question. Well, what I would probably do, a number of ways. Okay, I would say probably the easiest way to do it, all right, would be to go out, create an information product targeted towards a group of people that I knew were very, very interested in that particular thing. Okay, now, if you guys read any of my business books, one of the things I talk about is this thing called the Great Formula, right? And I say that all the great business fortunes in history have been built with 3 simple steps. It's really, really easy. You just say, create the irresistible offer. There's a whole book about that. It's another conversation. But, I mean, basically, it's like presenting to an audience what it is that you're offering them. Sometimes we lose track of that in business, right? We get all hung up on the smoke and mirrors of making our thing look a little bit different from what it really is. But really what you got to do is get better at communicating what you are, okay, and being a better thing, okay? So excellence is the first important thing there, all right? That's another way of talking about that. The next thing is you present it to a thirsty crowd. So what's a thirsty crowd? Can anybody guess? Thirsty crowd. What does that mean? Nico. Target market. Okay. Have a problem. A problem is one thing, right? Yeah, maybe they're all problems. I don't know. It's a good question. Looking for an answer somehow, right? Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of ways we can deconstruct this, and they're probably all very useful. Now, I'll give you a really interesting example for this. It's kind of silly. Let's say somebody makes a tool called the Uber brush, all right? And the Uber brush is great because, like, you can stroke it through your hair and it'll change your hair color instantly. It'll take curly hair and make it straight. It'll take straight hair and make it curly. It'll take damaged hair and make it look good. It'll take Charles's hair and take the color out. Put the color back in. Whatever he wants to do. It's all in the Uber brush right there. And this is an amazing product, right? Now, who wouldn't buy that thing? All right, so you go out and you talk to a publicist and you say, hey, look, I know this product is great. We're selling it at a good price. I mean, $100? Come on. Easy sale, right? So he says, all right, I found this convention. 50,000 people are going to be at this convention. All you got to do is show up with a box of these things and shoe in, right? So you show up, and the FedEx box arrives. You open the door to the convention, and all of a sudden your heart sinks because it says on a big banner, the 2nd annual convention of the Balding Men of America. Now, if that brush could grow some hair, might be a thirsty crowd. But they're actually probably going to feel a little bit insulted when you bring that brush over. Now, if you guys invent the hair growth brush, I'll contact me first because I'll be a customer. Are you understanding thirsty crowds? It's a pretty basic concept, right? But you would be very, very surprised at how much people don't think about this, okay? A lot of people spend money on advertising that is totally outside of that thirsty crowd. Okay, it's very, very common. All right, the third thing is sell them a second glass. Okay, second glass is all about back-end profits. All right, it's all about getting more money per transaction. It's all about getting more money from them in the long term. It means that your marketing is a relationship with people. It's not just a one-off deal where you sell them a bunch of stuff and you disappear. It's a process. Because you have met their needs with stuff, and they like you, and they respect you, and they trust you, they're going to buy more from you again and again and again. Now, I'll tell you that the majority of the fortunes in the world are built in the second glass. Why? Well, there is a marketing truism that I firmly believe that a lot of people question, but I don't think there's any sense in questioning it at all, and that's that the people, well, let me phrase it this way. It is easier to sell a product to an existing customer than it is to acquire a new customer, right? Now, this can all be broken down in terms of ROI, right? ROI is what? Everybody knows that. Good. All right, you're not brand newbies. Return on investment. Well, that's all it's all about. In Simpleology 102, we talk about the grand law of wealth. Increase your incoming, decrease your outgoing. Simpleology, right? We're trying to make making money for you simple. Well, if you're not focusing on that all the time, you're not going to be doing that. Okay, so tying that ground law of wealth into that, if you can decrease your outgoings on your advertising by getting more dollars from selling stuff to people that are already there, where you don't have to have that acquisition cost, well, it's very, very easy to do that. This is why continuity as a product is a very, very valuable thing. Okay, we'll give you an example of a company that you guys just had some interaction with, HackerSafe. All right, HackerSafe is a wonderful, brilliant second-class vehicle. Why? Because they offer a great service, and they know that because it's valuable to you, measurably valuable to you, all right, you're going to pay for it again and again and again, month after month. Now, I will tell you, it doesn't cost HackerSafe much money other than just being great and continuing to be great to keep those customers in line. That second $100 costs much, much less than that initial $100 that they got. So is that making sense so far? All right, so to answer your question, what I would do then is I would go out and I would find a thirsty crowd. All right, it can be anywhere. Anywhere. And let me tell you, there are thirsty crowds that most people in the internet marketing crowd simply do not tap. They don't even know they exist. All right, we call it niche marketing on the internet, but you know it's ironic. A lot of the internet marketing is selling products to internet marketers, right? So that they can make a lot more money. Well, people see internet marketing gurus doing that, and they think that that's the way to make money. That is a tiny, tiny, tiny segment of the potential population. There are almost 7 billion people in the world now. Okay, we're creeping up on 7 billion now, and the number of people that get online, I don't even know what the numbers are right now, but that number is actually increasing every day. And the needs of those people are, diverse. So there are huge markets you can find. So you identify that thirsty crowd, all right? Create the irresistible offer, which we could get into in more detail, but basically it's talking about having an excellent product that serves their needs. HackerSafe is a perfect example for that. A lot of people don't realize, that's another subtle thing there, is that they created a thirsty crowd that didn't really know that they needed it. Okay? So, in fact, that's where some of the genius in business comes from, because it's like, hey, I know that these people need this thing, but they don't know it yet. It's, in fact, what Bill Gates did. If you guys ever see Pirates of Silicon Valley, the movie, you guys should see it. Like, one of these nights, you guys should all just pop that DVD and, like, as a group and just watch it. Pop up some popcorn and sit and watch it, because you will learn some very, very valuable business lessons doing that. Okay? All right, then the next thing I would do is I would go out and I would orchestrate a product launch. And the formula for that is very, very simple, okay? You create a certain amount of anticipation in the marketplace so that people think of the coming of this particular product and they say, wow, I can't wait to get this. And you do that by using things like social proof, what I like to call the Zeigarnik effect, which is a psychological principle from a cognitive psychologist, which is really a fancy way of talking about curiosity. It's like a cliffhanger ending. I don't know if Charles ever does this in his videos, but if you have a cliffhanger ending in a video, do you do that?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Do you think it increases the actual viewership of the follow-up video?
Yeah, actually, well,
Sometimes it's hard to say, right?
Yeah. You're gonna have the people who get pissed off at that stuff because a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah. Well, sometimes people don't like what we do, but it's very effective, right? Yeah. So we have to be very, very careful about that. When we get feedback from the marketplace, when the marketplace says, like 3 guys are saying, this is really, really annoying me, but the rest of the guys are ready to throw lots of dollars at you, well, are you really sensitive about the feelings of these 3 guys? No. Okay. All right. So then what you do is you do an orchestrated launch, right? You get a lot of people and a lot of different marketing weapons to fire off at the same time. All right. Now, the beauty of that is you create an air of importance, an air of, let's just say that, I'm trying to think of a really good way to say this. Anybody here read Cialdini's Influence? Cialdini's Influence. Definitely read that book. That's one of the, in fact, I would write that down, guys. Called Influence by Robert Cialdini, Cialdini. Okay? One of the things he talks about there is a concept of social proof, and that is that if you see a group of people doing something, you assume that it's cool and good and acceptable and that you should be doing it too, right? And there's a tremendous amount of psychological research that proves that this is the case. I'm sure that we can even look at our own behavior and know, if anybody here is wearing a label piece of clothing, you are probably doing that to a certain extent as a result of social proof. Now, if you do a launch where you get a whole bunch of people to promote your product on the same day, consumers are looking at that saying, man, this guy's talking about it, and this guy's talking about it. It's got to be a big deal, right? Now, what I just told you right there, there have been products for thousands of dollars sold telling you exactly that formula. Now, those products get into much greater detail, and certainly not to poo-poo that at all in any way, because there are some great, great ones out there. But that's what most of the great internet marketing gurus do, okay? Even the ones who are teaching you other methods of internet marketing, that's how most of them make their money. Now, you guys can look back at your history and go, oh, yeah, wait a minute. Because I remember I bought that product because those 5 other gurus were talking about that one thing. Well, you know what? It's not just happening in the internet marketing world. It's happening all over the world, right? It's happening in markets that are much bigger with a lot more dollars to make. So that's essentially what I would do. It's a good plan? All right. Guys, I got like 2 or 3 more minutes. Any other questions?
Well, expanding on that, what day would you launch it?
Ha ha ha. Good. Very good question, actually. Now, I did some research about that years ago in a product called Confidential Internet Intelligence Manuscript. And as a result of that, people are now doing their launches on Fridays and Tuesdays because we did some research that showed that Fridays were the number 1 day for response, Tuesday was the number 2 day for response. I cannot tell you authoritatively whether or not that is still the case, but I can say that Fridays are still very good. Problem with Friday, though, is a lot of your staff is, people are gone. You know, they're gone for the weekend, right? Your staff may be gone for the weekend, so you may not be able to respond to your customers. So Tuesdays for launches is a pretty good day to do that because you get people out of that Monday rut. We can tell you measurably that that's a very good response day, and you have time to work with that, you know, if you're assuming you're working with a staff that's not working on the weekends. Cool? All right.
Last question. I have a question about the markets that are out there. I have been told that even though there might be a really good market in the real world, in the brick and mortar world, there is not a market online. Have you found that to be true? Or?
I think that's absolute nonsense. And I will tell you right now that everything that is offline just about is moving online, right? Where do you go now? Do you look at the yellow pages? You go to super pages or whatever it is. No, you don't go to super pages. Well, what do you do? What's your yellow? Do you have a Yellow Pages website that you go to? Yellowpages.com or Google, right? The Yellow Pages are still a great place to advertise, but I will tell you, just look at your own behavior, right? So if you want to get your hair cut, you go online to get that information. So get that idea. I don't know who told you that, but I would like to...
An online marketing guru.
Really? Okay. Well, I would like to hear more clarification of what he said, because maybe he's saying something there that I haven't thought through. But let me just say one last thing about that, because I know we got to wrap up. But what I will say is this, okay? Online, there is less interaction and less rapport. Okay. Now, do you guys think you understand who the guy Mark Joyner is a little bit more after sitting here and talking with me? A lot more, right? Before I walked in the door and talked to you guys, all right? Now, at this point, we may have a little bit more trust. Now, if you guys may or may not have known who I was before this, I won't make any assumptions. I don't know. But if you just come to a web page online, there is, by definition, almost always going to be less trust, all right? So you can't be looking in someone's face there because there's no substitute for looking at someone in the eye. So if you want to sell certain types of products, it does take more of a relationship. But that relationship can be built in many ways. It can be built over teleseminars. It can be built over the phone. Many, many ways. So I would say don't exclude anything out of the internet. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you very much, Mark.